2024 City Council meeting. Would you please rise and join me in the pledge? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. If you please remain standing, I'd like to invite Pastor Melissa Redford from New Vision Church to the podium for our invocation.
Thank you. As I was preparing and thinking about today, I just want to say thank you to each of you for your service to our city. Just really appreciate what you guys do, and it's a great place to live, Harrison, Ohio. Thank you. Let's pray. Heavenly Father, we praise you. We thank you for this day. We thank you for the excitement, the spring that's coming, the new life, the new that you have in store for each of us and for this city. Father, I thank you for your servants that are here. I pray blessing and direction and guidance upon each one. I ask that you continue to watch over the city of Harrison. I ask that we continue to love one another, to serve one another, to support one another in Christian love, just urging and encouraging one another as we go. Continue to bless this time and to bless the city of Harrison. It's in the name of Jesus that we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Roll call.
Mr. Wilson.
Here.
Mr. Abrams.
Here.
Mr. Samuels.
Here.
Mr. Akra. Here. Mr. Maines.
Here.
Mrs. Wilson.
Here. Mr. Mayor,
Approve.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to excuse Councilman Egner this evening.
Second the motion. Roll call.
Mr. Abrams.
Yay.
Mr. Samuels.
Yay.
Mr. Akra. Mr. Maines.
Yay.
Mrs. Wilson.
Yay.
Mr. Wilson.
Yay. Approve council meeting minutes from March 5th, 2024.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Have a first and second. Roll call.
Mr. Abrams.
Yay.
Mr. Samuels.
Yay.
Mr. Akra. Yay. Mr. Maines.
Yay.
Mrs. Wilson.
Yay.
Mr. Wilson.
Yay. Okay, we'll go ahead and move into presentations. I'd like to invite American Legion Post 199 to the podium.
Mr. Mayor, if you'd go over to the podium, please. Tonight, American Legion is honored to donate to the Mayor's Fund for the month of February, $6,632.10.
Them game machines going.
Thank you very much.
I gotta get a picture. There you go, sir.
There you go, sir.
Nice check.
Very nice check, and I'd like to thank the American Legion. The Harrison Community Mayor's Fund donates $18,000 a quarter to different community members all throughout the Southwest Local School District. So this covers more than 1 month of expenses. We're also taking into consideration other opportunities that we're going to look at throughout the year and try to roll out in 2025. So it's contributions like this that really roll back and support those community members that are most in need. So thank you very much. We'll go ahead and move into invited guests and visitors. Net Trosher from Lady Hawk Events, the Greater Harrison Chamber of Commerce Member of the Month. She was not able to attend this evening. She had a meeting come up, and business comes first, so she had to make sure she ran to that. She's doing an excellent job down in the district and the entire tri-state, really, because she travels all over the place with different planning events. But I encourage you to seek out Lady Hawk events, and if you have any large events that you need help with, I encourage you to reach out to her and seek her advice. I'd like to invite Ms. Judy Kirchhoff to the podium.
Thank you, Mayor. For those who don't know who I am, I'm Judy Kirchhoff. I live at 105 Turner Ridge Drive in the Turner Ridge subdivision, which is just up the street here. And I'm representing all of the homeowners, minus the homes that are being built. And it was easier to come tonight to speak to you rather than to go to every committee that would have an interest in this. Some of the things that are going on is they're knocking down mailboxes, taking a long time to put them back up. Some of our members have had to go to the post office to receive their mail. They're taking water from the fire plugs when they need it. Let Jim know about that. But when they need water, and none of the fire plugs have the proper meter on them so that the city can bill them. So they're taking water whenever they need it. They have undercut several trees on other property, meaning the original residence property. So those trees are dying, and when questioned, it was, oh, well, nothing we can do. Well, yes, there is. So they're doing that. Another thing is the house that's being built down by me. I'm on the bottom of the subdivision. They've gotten awfully close to the big wall that's there, and it's giving us concern that the wall could come down. So somebody needs to look at that. Siding has been damaged on some of our homes from them using, well, I don't think they have enough help is what the problem is. But as they put the rafters up, they let them swing, and they're swinging into our homes. So we've had siding damaged also. And to my knowledge, none of that has been fixed. The main thing we're concerned about, though, is the street. Stephen, the project manager, has told several of the residents when questioned about, are they going to take care of the street that they're running? He said, it's not our problem, it's the city's problem. And we want to know who's going to take care of the street. It was in the letter that was sent to the city that they would be responsible for taking care of the street once all of the building was done. And now they're coming back and saying, no, they're not. So we're just trying to tell all of you what's going on and seeing how this can be resolved.
Okay. What I'll do is I'll get with Jim. So in regards to some of the damages and everything, what we can probably do is get Rusty out there or Gordon out there to take a look at what's going on, see if it can be addressed properly. Hopefully homeowners, if damage has occurred, hopefully homeowners have documentation around when it happened and how it happened, and hopefully maybe pictures that they would be able to strengthen an argument, I guess. In regards to the street itself, what I'll do is I'll get with Jim Leslie, have a conversation, because a lot of that was approved prior to me
Right.
taking office. So I'll need to have a sit-down conversation to find out what the agreements were and see how we can work through those to a good resolution.
Well, we saw a drone go over before they ever started.
Yes.
And Gordon, did you?
Okay.
Is that the original builder?
No.
No, this is a completely different
Yeah.
builder. The new builder that's in there bought the remaining lots that were vacant. And I know there was some discussion around building similar and trying to maintain consistency in the neighborhood. But I'll have to get up to speed in regards to what the specific agreements were around who's responsible for what.
Right.
But if a builder's in there tearing up neighboring homes, that's something that we definitely need to make sure that we address with them.
If you need the addresses, tell Rusty to stop by or call me, and I can give him the addresses.
Matt, would you mind reaching or getting Miss Judy's contact information? And that way we can set up a meeting and get some of that information from her. Thank you.
Mayor, if they don't respond to us, what can we do? Can we give them a stop order?
Mr. Law Director, can you answer that for us?
Give me the question one more time.
If they don't respond to what the city wants them to do and they're destroying people's property that are up there, can we give them a stop order?
Yeah, I think we may be able to issue something like that.
Yeah, I would think that we'd be able to get a cease and desist
Yeah.
in place until
Till they get it
the
fixed.
problems were
I think
corrected.
so.
But
And if we're not pointing to some kind of common law property right, maybe there's something in the code we can also point to that they're violating, and that would be the basis of the order. There also could be just property rights that they're violating, cite to.
Now, maybe they will listen when we have the city go out, but if they don't, we should have something in plan to say, okay, stop working until you do correct it.
yes, no, I agree. And it's an item that I'll need to get. Obviously, the items where rafters are swinging through the air and hitting neighbors' houses, that's something that we're gonna have to get the documentation around and address appropriately. Knocking over mailboxes, you know, they can't be doing that type of stuff. They have to be responsible while they're construction, or they're in there doing construction. So, in regards to street, we'll have to figure out what the agreement was, and get supporting evidence around it, just to make sure that we dot our i's and cross our t's. As for whether they agree to address the concerns, that's where we'll have to take additional action, and, but we'll have to determine that course.
But we can let them know that if you don't listen to
Yes.
us, this is what we will do.
Absolutely.
All right, thank you.
Yes,
Judy,
thank you, Ms. Judy.
Just kind of background information, what happened to the original builder?
The original builder went bankrupt.
Yes.
Okay, halfway through the development of the project, it sat idle.
Our house was the first one to be built, and that was 2004. He went bankrupt in 2006, I think. It wasn't very long after,
Built half the.
But he got all those original he got all those houses that were up there before this development built.
all except
Then
one.
he went bankrupt. Oh, that's right, there was one built,
There was one that was not built by him.
yes.
Okay.
And then the lot sat empty until this
Right.
most recent developer. There were a couple people that I think looked at it, but
Correct.
they didn't want to build similar style. They wanted to build something different, if I
Yeah,
remember
they wanted
correct.
to build ultra-modern.
Yeah, so it didn't fit the neighborhood.
Yeah, not even close. It was like flat roof George
Okay,
Jetson
so-
looking
yeah,
things.
Yeah,
So,
the homes that they're building are more, they're not the same, but they're more acceptable than what was originally proposed.
Not really, but we lost, so,
What are you gonna do, right?
yeah.
So, I just, in curiosity, I mean, if it's your neighbor, and in this case, you got the builder who is building several homes, so you got one neighbor that's causing problems for 10 neighbors or 15 neighbors.
Yeah.
right? I mean, if my neighbor is being reckless with a ladder or swinging stuff, I mean, what is the proper course? Do you call the police and say they're damaging my property, or do you call your homeowner's insurance and they fight the fight for you, or what's the?
I have no clue.
Well, certainly, you know.
well, if the damage, Chief,
Best avenue would be to call the police.
yes,
The officer can come out. If it's not a criminal act, the officer will take a general information report.
Right.
Document what he sees and the parties involved, and at least you've got a mechanism then to go to your insurance company or come to the city and have time, date, location, etc.
Thank you.
More often than not,
Depending on exactly what occurred, it may be a crime, or it may not, but the officer can make that determination when they respond.
I will pass that information along.
yeah, the report will be the big part of it because the insurance company will then follow up after the report. And then if repairs need to be made, the insurance can also go after the builders if determined that the builder was at fault. They could go after the builder's general liability
Okay.
insurance policy. So,
I'll be sure and pass that on tonight.
And the tree issue is a difficult thing because these homes, the trees are 20 years old now, right?
More.
2002, yeah,
More.
to 2004, right? Yes,
Yeah,
so you can't replace them with the same size, right? You're gonna have to put in a smaller caliper tree and then wait for the, so, yeah, so they're not taking precautions to be careful with.
No.
It's not staying off of your property. That's your property, right? You own that
Correct.
property, they need to stay on their property.
correct.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, they don't seem to mind. They just do what they have to do.
But what they have to do is
Stay off the,
respect
Correct.
private property rights.
right, plus the wall is the city's responsibility. When we dissolved the HOA,
well, that's why I thought bringing Gordon in, because Gordon, with his expertise, should be able to evaluate that and make sure there's proper setback away from that wall to not adversely affect.
I mean, the
well, Jim
wall is
also.
down by me, so,
What's that?
the wall is down
Yes.
by me, so. if it
You don't
comes-
want it to wash out?
No, I don't want it.
You don't want to have your house come floating down by my house?
Well, it almost did one year, if y'all remember that. For several months. It was, but, it's, if the wall falls, it's actually probably gonna fall first on the new house that's being built.
Yes. Well, we will. We'll get somebody out there and we'll, if you don't mind passing your information
Sure.
to Matt, I greatly appreciate it.
Sure, no problem.
good.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
And Jim, do we have an agreement with this builder that they were gonna take care of the street, that they would? Right. Did that street ever get its final top coat of asphalt on it? It did get that, but it was never dead. But the street's never been dedicated.
But it's never been dedicated to where it's our official responsibility, correct?
Dedicated but not accepted, is that right?
Yes.
Dedicated but not accepted.
Okay.
Judy, you never had any problem when you was on Harmony Drive, and we do miss you. Just let you know, we still miss you.
Okay, we'll go ahead and move on to the business session. We're going to vote on an ordinance to accept dedication of public right-of-way plat for Edgewood Road and New Haven Road.
Wilson moves to approve. JW?
I'll second.
We have a first and second. Roll call.
We have,
Samuels?
what are we voting on here?
So there is a right-of-way that runs along, hold on one second. It runs along Edgewood Road.
Put off in New Haven.
It's actually New Haven and Edgewood.
I'm sorry, it is New Haven. So, but it is part of the road improvements that we are making to that intersection there.
It's this widening right here.
For the turn lane, correct? So this is for the turn lane that will be at the intersection of Edgewood and New Haven Road. And this will allow us to have the property to be able to proceed with that. Thank you, Jim.
Ready?
Any other discussion? Roll call?
Mr. Samuels?
Yay.
Mr. Akra?
Yay.
Mr. Maines?
Yay.
Mrs. Wilson?
Yay.
Mr. Wilson?
Yay.
Mr. Abrams?
Yay.
Okay, with that, we'll go ahead and move into reports. As I touched on before, the Mayor's Fund lives and breathes on the donations from organizations like the American Legion VFW. We continue to roll out in partnership with not Loving Hearts. I apologize. I've blanked on the name. In partnership with a local organization to help community members in need. It's not only the City of Harrison residents, it is people in the Southwest Local School District. So we're going clear down into Crosby Township and Whitewater Township and everything. But the contributions like I accepted this evening from the American Legion are incredibly important. We do have different events planned throughout the year to try and raise money. We'll start planning for our golf outing here in the coming months, and that'll be in the second week of August this year. A couple other items that I have going on. I will be attending a recognition event at the school this coming Friday. The Southwest Local School District, specifically the high school, has really had a successful winter sports season. And I will be recognizing Chloe Deerwester for her success. If you aren't aware, she is a four-time state champion female wrestler. She's been a leader in that sport, not only in our local community, but across the state, and getting women's wrestling a school-sanctioned event. So absolutely incredible success, and she's going to be going to Presbyterian College to continue her wrestling career. So I will be up there for that. And then I do have a district discussion on March 27th to continue to build that relationship. For some time, there's just kind of been a breakdown, and I look forward to trying to grow that and continue the success in the district to allow them to have events and continue to grow not only in the city of Harrison, but across the tri-state area. So I look forward to that discussion with all the local businesses. With all that, that's all I have. Mr. Sitting In-Law Director in place, Ryan.
Thank you. And I have nothing to report, Mayor. Thank you.
Very good.
That's not a departure.
Mr. Wilson, sir.
Yeah, I got a couple things. Number one, if you're a senior at Harrison High School and you haven't applied, went to your Mrs. Akra for the application for a scholarship, you're running out of time. It ends the 27th of March. We will be giving out those scholarships April the 2nd at the council meeting here. Another thing, Bill Akra and I and the fire chief went down to Willow Park this past week, and we met with a gentleman who puts in boat ramps, and we talked to him about the possibility of putting a boat ramp down at Willow Park. And I want to have discussions with Mr. Leslie and some other people about, and the law director, about if we put one in, do we need to staff it or not? And the other thing is, if we put one in, the feasibility of it staying there. With this gentleman seems to think it would, but I know that it wouldn't be handicap accessible unless we pave a road back to it. and pave that parking lot down there. And the mayor is looking into trying to find out if we can find some handicap grants to be able to get it all done. The boat ramp itself, the gentleman told the fire chief, myself, and Mr. Acre that it would be about $15,000. And we're looking into finding out if that money's available. If it's not, I'm going to be talking to the Legion and the VFW to see if they would fund it. And I personally think they would, but we'll find out. The other thing, we had a fire meeting tonight, and we only had 3 fires this past month. One of them was a pretty big one, and we can't talk about it a whole lot because it's still under investigation. Seems like they put it out and then it started again for one reason or another. But I find it hard to believe that our city doesn't have a capital fund to fund things like fire engines and police cruisers. It amazes me that we don't put money back for that, because I asked a question tonight in the fire committee meeting, what happens if the fire engine we have right now blows up? Can we rent one? Nope. We just got to be dependent on our neighboring communities to help us out. And I think that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. I was told by a pretty reliable source that we used to have a capital fund, and a previous chairman of the finance committee said it was a total waste of money. Well, I don't think it is a waste of money. And I think we ought to get back to that so that if something comes up that's an emergency, we don't have to toss our head around trying to figure out how are we going to protect our citizens. I think we ought to have money available, and I think it should be put into a capital reserve every year so that we have it available. And with that, I'll shut up.
Well, I will touch on that just a little bit. We do have a capital reserve fund that the city contributes $40,000 a year, and then the Harrison Township also contributes. We work in partnership with them. Unfortunately, it doesn't have $1 million in it.
I'm sorry, Mayor, I'm sorry, I was gonna say that. We
Yes.
had a proposal tonight in the fire committee meeting for a new fire engine, and if we paid for it up front, we'd get a $859 discount, but it would still be $946,564 for what and they've tried to cut tape on that to try to cut things off they really might not need, but that's what they figure they need. I'm sorry, sir. Go ahead.
No. We have an existing fire truck that's reached its life at 30 years old, and we do have to begin that price out period. Unfortunately, it takes about 2.5 years for them to build the thing. The same engine 3 years ago was about $600,000, and now they're pricing in around $1 million. So, unfortunately, with the inflation that has taken place all the way across the entire country, it's difficult to keep up with saving for major purchases like that. So, Mr. Abrams.
Just real quick, Mayor, since Mr. Egner's not here, I'll do his civil defense update real quick. The big gist of what happened is the police department and fire department did an update for the emergency operation plan, which is renewed every time there's a new mayor. So every time there's a new mayor, they update the plans. And the possibility of joining in with the public works is also in order, which we'll be looking at here later in the year. And basically, it'll be a year-long process where we're getting updates every month through the fire department and police department. The second thing is I had a meeting at OKI on March 14th, and the takeaway to that is there is some funding opportunities for electric vehicle charging infrastructure, basically charging stations. We would have to have a project in place by June 7th of 2024, and I'll be doing some follow-up here later this month. Very good. That's all I got.
Mr. Samuels.
No report tonight, Mayor. The only thing I want to note is the Finance Committee will be meeting on March 26th at 4:30 p.m. We will have an abbreviated meeting because we have union negotiations starting up at 5 o'clock with the steelworkers group. But we are having the meeting. And to the point that Jerry brought up, I can't agree more that we should be in a position to prepare for these types of expenses. And I can honestly say we've been trying to get to that point. We have been saving money and in a capital fund, but honestly, the focus of that has been going to the Dry Fork Overpass. So we do have some money available. I do appreciate the sentiment, and we are trying to get there. So, in complete agreement. So, that's all I have, Mayor.
I do want to go backwards real quick before I move on to Ray. I do need to request a public hearing. I look back and I saw Matt back there, and he probably would have throttled me if I didn't request this public hearing. The city of Harrison has the opportunity to receive CBDG grant money that will be used for signage and display primarily down the district. We have to hold 2 public hearings in order to have the opportunity to receive that money. So I'm proposing April 2nd, 2024. We have a public hearing at 7:15. And then we would have a second meeting April 17th, I believe. April 16th at 7:15. That way we meet the obligation that would be needed to potentially receive that money. We have the opportunity to receive up to about $100,000 that we could use for an array of different things down there. And I'd like to take the time to try and be able to earn that money. So
That's April 2nd and 16th at 7:15.
yes,
Thank you.
and then we'll hold our standard council meeting at 7:30. Mr. Aker, do you have a report this evening?
I don't have a report. I have some, I got a card, and I'd like to read it to you, that a lady sent us. It says, for the senior citizens, is it possible to add a resting place along the middle of the trail in the river park? And it says, thanks so much. I truly appreciate the existence of Will Park in our city. I know there's much more to be done, and I hope it goes smoothly. Thanks again. And she left her name, and which I think she's after as a bench. It's a long walk on that back half in between getting to your car and from the bench before. So if we got a spare bench or something to sit on in between there and back to the car, I think that's what she's after.
Jim, if we don't have something, can you price out a bench and bring it to our next city council meeting to discuss some utilities?
She never asked for a restroom,
It's a bench.
Just a
Just a
bench.
bench.
just a place
Just
to
bench.
rest. Well, I don't know what she's talking about. All she says is along the middle of the trail, so I don't know if she's talking as you go all the way through, halfway back or up, but
Maybe we can just evaluate that and see if there's a spot where we could.
Well, there's a couple that are sitting there right by the river, but they're not, I think the point is they're not equally spaced along the trail. So there's a kind of a dead zone where there's a fairly long walk and there's no trail, if I understand. So it might be handy to reach out to this woman and have her put an X on the map where she thinks there might be need for another one. I can see that. There's certainly
No,
not.
I think we can get
equally
down there,
spaced.
evaluate it. We're gonna have to find a spot just because it's probably back in the wooded area. So I don't want it to sink into the ground either, and tip backwards.
Yeah.
So we just have to evaluate that and put a gravel pad down or something, and then maybe relocate a bench.
I know it's
But-
only a quarter mile if you take the shortcut, but if you do the full loop, it's a little over half mile.
So,
I'd need about 8 benches. She's doing a little bit better than me, but apparently she's getting winded.
very good.
So I'd like to give that to you, just so you know who we're talking about,
Thank you.
and maybe give her a yell and see.
Sounds good. Do you have anything else, sir?
That's all I have.
Very good. Councilman Maines?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, just a brief report. I want to thank my wife for giving our invocation this evening. Certainly thank her for supporting my role as a Harrison City Council member. Being the spouse of a politician is not an easy task. I think Doug would know that, and now he's kind of joined the ranks, and him and his wife are kind of supporting each other in those roles, and certainly Gene and Jerry understand that, as well as all the other spouses of the council members that are up here. And it's not an easy job. You know, folks, I've even heard people be critical of the fact that we have a husband and a wife on the city council. And, you know, let's face the facts, both of them are willing to run for local office. And we have a lot of, very few citizens in this city that are willing to step up. And it reminds me of, you know, citizens stepping up and willing to step in the ring. So I won't go off and read Teddy Roosevelt's Man in the Arena speech, but that kind of comes to mind. So I just want to thank our spouses this evening for what they do to support us and what we do up here. And then lastly, the Doug Dunaway Motocross Park opened on Sunday for the season. I just want to thank the mayor, Jim Leslie and his staff, and all our volunteers that did the work to get the park ready for the season. We have a fellow that looks like he's going to come out and groom the track on Monday, volunteer. He's got his own skid steer. He's bringing it out. We've got some money saved up. We'll take care of him with some fuel, that sort of thing. So, yeah, it's exciting, and it was fun to go out Sunday. Tony had his neighbor and son out there riding. There was another young fella out there riding for the first time. I think he was riding his Christmas present, so that was pretty exciting.
That's even better when you see the young kids getting into it. So.
Yeah, it was fun. And then the young there's some teenagers out there and some young adults riding. It was fun to see everybody out there riding this Sunday. That's all I have, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you. Councilwoman Wilson.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I'd like to give a police committee report. Monthly monthly traffic crash reports for February 16 equals 14 public roadway accidents and 2 private property accidents. Our current staffing is, we have 23 sworn officers available for forward duty and 1 officer on sick leave. Regulated vehicle ordinance, we have 45 that's been inspected to date with 42 permits issued for on-the-road use. When we talk about that, we're actually talking about the golf carts. Lexipol conversion date, continuing to edit the policies and procedures. We talked about the flock camera system, and we had much discussion about that. The Mechstein trip, 3 officers are going to Germany from April the 3rd to April the 11th. Lieutenant Robert Sider will be the acting chief of police. The 2023 Dodge Durango PPV update, 2 are done, with 1 at the Mobilecom now, and the last Durango is to be completed by the first week in April. The chief also reminded us that to all our homeowners, renters, whoever, please keep your vehicles locked. If you have valuables in your car, he suggests you put them in your trunk. There's a lot of break-ins going on right now. There are gangs coming out, theft gangs coming out, breaking into cars. So don't keep any valuables in your car. Keep your cars locked, and don't leave your keys in your car. So that's just common sense, but sometimes we have to be reminded of that. And on the Harrison Recreation Commission, we met on March the 13th. We have our Easter program coming up, which will be on March the 30th from 8 a.m. to 11 a.m., 9 a.m. to 11 a.m., or 8 a.m. to 11, I think, is the Boy Scouts pancake breakfast. And then from 9 to 11, activities. We'll have the Easter Bunny. There'll be games that are going to be run by Legacy Church. There'll be crafts run by Pathways. Hamilton County 4-H is going to be here. We have more details coming about that. We have a magician coming from the Cincinnati Circus. We have all kinds of booths that are going to be set up. There's going to be a bicycle giveaway by Liberty Tax. There's going to be someone here from the Care Source Health. A lot of fun for the kids, and it doesn't cost anything, so bring the kids down. Summer fun sign-ups will be April the 13th from 10 a.m. to noon, and Saturday, April the 19th from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. So we're working on fun ideas for the kids for summer fun. Our summer concert series is set. On June the 4th will be The Remains. On June the 18th will be Michelle Robinson. On July the 16th will be Zack Attack. On July the 30th will be DV8. On 4th of July it'll be Don't Tell Steve. And the 4th of July we're working on the fireworks. We're wanting to get a few more food vendors. So if you're a food vendor, please contact Kim Sovereign, our recreation coordinator. And we're going to sell food and beer and pop. The P&G Big Band will play at 5 p.m. Don't Tell Steve Band will start at 7. The time of the parade is going to be 4 p.m. And our Grand Marshal this year, we have selected our former mayor, Bill Meyer. And we're working on some great things for next year. Don't forget, on August the 10th will be our car show. September the 7th will be the citywide yard sale. October the 27th will be Spooktacular. And December the 7th will be the Christmas parade and tree lighting. And that's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
Very good. Hopefully it's a cool 4th of July this year, because it's always hotter than blue blazes during that parade. With that, I do need to request an executive session per Ohio Revised Code 121.22, subsection G.
Wilson J.W. so moves.
I have to read the rest of it, I'm sorry. To consider confidential information related to the marketing plan, specific business strategy, production techniques, trade secrets, or personal financial statements of an applicant for economic development assistance, or to negotiations with other political subdivisions respecting requests for economic development assistance.
I still so move.
I'll second.
Okay, roll call.
Mr. Akra?
Yay.
Mr. Maines?
Yay.
Mrs. Wilson?
Yay.
Mr. Wilson?
Yay.
Mr. Abrams?
Yay.
Mr. Samuels?
Yay.
We will retire to executive session.
Threw Ray a curve.